Hello, gentle ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ari, and this is indeed some Modern Warfare 3. It is some kill confirmed. However, that is not what I want to talk about today. I thought I'd take this time out to start sort of our discussions of life, and this is going to be a two-part series, starting with the social changes in my earlier life, and then sort of my development in character into basically the man that I am today. So I think it's important to give a little background information about me, and I guess when you're talking about your early social life, you can't escape school. So I was always brought up in the private school system. I know there are people out there that sort of view this one sort of image as a private school boy, and I'd like to think that I'm not that sort of image. I'm not massively up myself. I don't sort of walk around wearing a top hat and a monocle, but those opinions may be outdated. But again, I was brought up in private education. My parents always felt that it was the best thing and it was necessary. In hindsight, I'd say there's situations where it was necessary and situations where really I didn't need to. But again, I was brought up in private education, and I've lived in two places. I've lived in London, and I've lived in the Midlands. So my school here in London when I was growing up, I was in school in London from when I started school till I was 11. And the school I was in was, anyway, in my opinion, a sort of bubble. It was sort of, you didn't know much what was going on outside, and I really loved school here. I loved seeing my friends, and sort of hanging out and having fun. And yeah, I guess when you're really that young, there's not too much you have to worry about. Obviously there was some instances and occasions and debacles, but it wasn't too bad. And then I came to move to the Midlands. And although I went to a private school in the Midlands, the school itself was a lot more open and sort of less in this form of a bubble, in the sense that there were a lot of sort of scholarships available, there were a lot of schemes, and there were people from literally all types of backgrounds. Sort of in the school where I was at, you was very limited with the type of people that you would meet, in the sense there were not necessarily carbon copies, but there was sort of an almost generic sort of mold which everybody fit into, but we all got along. And I guess when I got to Birmingham, which is where my school was in, I was really hit, and I didn't really know how to react to the situation. And what ended up happening was this form of arrogance and this form of a god complex, and as you can imagine, it wasn't the most popular thing, and I started getting in trouble in school. There was sort of bullying. In essence, I had all the qualities of what you'd expect a bully to have, but somehow in my mind, I couldn't bring myself to bully. I don't really understand. I never understood why sort of my mind sort of kept me from doing that. Or at least I never felt like I was bullying anyone. And yeah, things slowly got worse, and sort of by the time I was, I'd say about 13, I was probably in sort of the darkest days of my life so far. And I felt that the world was against me, and that I was right and everybody else was wrong, and everyone else had to change. And I guess really, if you look at it technically, I shouldn't be alive today. There was a very, very dark day, and I think that's what I'm going to say on it, because I don't think this is the time or place to get really into detail about that sort of stuff. But it was at that point that I had a realization, and that was to stop pointing fingers at everybody else, and to really look at myself, and look at what I'd done, and look what I had become. And upon reflection, I realized that it wasn't the world's fault, it was mine. And for my situation, I don't expect sympathy, I don't expect any form of kindness. I brought that on myself, and I still maintain that. And this form of arrogance and sort of up myselfness, if you want to call it that, really was unhealthy for me. And I started observing people and seeing how people acted and seeing how people were within school, within society, and just started trying to change myself slowly. and really open up to the view of sort of, you know, it's not just this bubble. There are people outside this bubble, and you have to learn to interact, and you have to be willing to interact. Having said that, there are aspects of my old self that are still existent in me, and I think it's wrong to say that every part of you disappears if you start to change your personality. And for me, that person goes by the name Mr. Phenomenal. And I know many of you who know me personally will know that I've mentioned this over and over again. I'm a firm believer that I say men, I mean the human race, is born with an ego. And I think healthy sort of displays of ego is what is the right way to go, rather than just bottling it up, because I found the more you bottle things up, the worse things get. And I guess whether it's in your hobbies, in what you do for fun, in your interests, whether you show it and display it, I just think that's a good thing. Anyway, this gameplay is coming to an end. I just like to say thank you for listening. There will be a part 2 of this, which is the evolution from Mr. Phenomenal to Ari, the man you see today. So thanks again for watching, and this is Ari, over and out. What you're about to see here is a two-person perspective of a Pred missile blowing up a helicopter. That is beautiful.